weirdo.
Oof.
I don't give no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me.
No, this part is not alleged. Jay-Z and his team, they have been ducking and dodging, taking.
Weirdo, I don't give a what you got in your head. That neural link. You'll never outthink me ever. No, this part is not alleged. Jay-Z and his team, they have been ducking and dodging taking the DNA. His children may not all be his. And the man who allegedly fathered some of them is Jay-Z. That's the story exploding across private group chats and industry circles this week as a decades-old paternity scandal collides with one of the most high-profile implosions in hip-hop history. At the center is Rai Satwait, a 31-year-old man who has spent over a decade in court trying to prove that Jay-Z is his biological father. But now, according to insiders tied to the case, the scope is widening because it's not just about Raimier anymore. It's about Diddy's family, Jay-Z's past, and the quiet war that may have ended their so-called brotherhood. Don't have no felonies. I'm not crazy or none of that. It's like, I just want the truth. And it's so hard to get it from the courts. And seems like Jay-Z don't want to say anything. So, I don't want to see him go down for something that, you could have just got taken care of. That's it. We've known about Raimier for years. His mother, Wanda Satterwhite, swore under penalty of perjury that she had an intimate encounter with Jeezy in 1992 when she was just 16. Raimier was born the following year. The story was pushed aside as tabloid noise until 2025 when Rai filed a new lawsuit accusing Jay-Z's legal team of fraud and obstruction to avoid a court-mandated paternity test. Jay-Z's lawyers hit back hard, calling the suit a decades-long campaign of harassment, but federal court didn't dismiss it outright. The affidavit from Wanda, who passed away in 2019, is now part of public record. And with that came another name, Letitia Murr. Letitia is 28, and she's been saying publicly for years that Jay-Z is her father. She's claimed family members told her from birth who her dad was. And now, according to at least 2 former Rockefeller insiders, Jay-Z has allegedly been paying for her home and supporting her financially on the condition that she never uses his name publicly. She wasn't included in his public family. She wasn't invited into the Carter narrative. But the implication is clear. If that silence was bought, then something needed to be hidden. And if Jay-Z has secret children, how many secrets are still buried? Because here's where things get messy. According to multiple people close to the Satterwhite case, at least 2 of Diddy's children may not be biologically his. The theory that Jay-Z, during the peak of his public friendship with Diddy, was privately involved with women in Diddy's circle, and that some of the resulting children are genetically not Combs. We're not talking about strangers or one-night mistakes. We're talking about long-time romantic partners, ex-girlfriends, women Diddy trusted. The rumors say Jay-Z knew Diddy didn't until recently. This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z, the accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she assaulted by both men. That bombshell alone would be enough to detonate any friendship, but the backdrop makes it even darker. Jay-Z and Diddy have a public history stretching back to the late 90s when they collaborated after Biggie's passing. In 1997, they appeared on each other's albums. By 2005, they were jointly donating $1 million for Katrina relief. In 2020, they were toasting at the Black Billionaire Brunch, locking arms, preaching unity. Diddy stood on that stage and called it a new era. United we stand, he said. Jay-Z nodded, smiled. The cameras caught everything. Man, I think that they don't want if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in music, any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up. But behind those polished moments, there were cracks. The 2007 Screamfest incident is one that still gets passed around in entertainment circles. Diddy smacking Jay-Z on stage twice in front of a sold-out crowd. At the time, people laughed it off as a joke, but insiders familiar with their dynamic now point to that moment as something else. A pressure valve release, a warning, tension that had been bubbling under the surface for years. Because even back then, Jay-Z's history with women in Diddy's orbit was an open secret. Fast forward to 2024, and the brotherhood collapsed. When Diddy was arrested on charges tied to trafficking and coercion, Jay-Z said nothing. Not a word on social media, no support statement, not even a lawyered-up PR nod. 50 Cent mocked the silence, joking that Jay-Z must be in hiding. But some close to the situation say the silence wasn't fear, it was strategy. Because just weeks earlier, Diddy and Jay-Z allegedly had a falling out, a bad one. According to two sources who worked with K's legal team, Diddy had recently learned about the alleged paternity overlaps. And he wasn't just hurt, he was furious. And I'm not saying allegedly. Oh, okay, I'm saying Sean Carter, you're a piece of taking pimps. I wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston. That's when another rumor started spreading, mostly whispered, mostly off record, but it keeps resurfacing that Jay-Z didn't just betray Diddy by sleeping with his partners. He pushed him toward arrest, or at least didn't stop it. One version says Jay-Z had access to sealed information about Diddy's past parties and the people involved. Another claims he made a call. That part hasn't been verified and no formal link has been proven. But what has been confirmed is that Jay-Z and Diddy were both named in a civil lawsuit filed by a woman known only as Jane Doe, accusing them of assault in 2000 when she was underage. That suit was amended in December 2024, just as Diddy's legal troubles hit full throttle. Jay-Z called the allegations a blackmail attempt. Diddy denied everything, but the timing didn't go unnoticed. And here's what makes this even more twisted. Multiple associates from the Rockefeller and Bad Boy camp say Jay-Z always had a knack for staying clean while those around him burned. That when things got hot, he stepped back, watched the fire, and walked away untouched. They point to his quiet withdrawal from Diddy after March 2024 when the FBI raided Diddy's properties. No public visits, no support, just distance. And now, as Diddy sits in prison on a 50-month sentence, Jay-Z continues to expand his empire untouched by the same scandals consuming his former ally. And I have to still say allegedly has done things, and allegedly participated in a lot of things that the public would not be happy to know. But the silence isn't protection anymore. The Sadith Waite lawsuit won't go away. The Latisha story won't disappear. And now that people are starting to connect the dots between Jay-Z's alleged private behavior and Diddy's unraveling, the idea of a setup isn't so far-fetched. Because if Diddy's children aren't all his and Jay-Z was the one pulling the strings, then their so-called brotherhood was the ultimate betrayal. And the fallout is just beginning. Jay-Z's scandals don't stop at Diddy's children. They go much deeper. The civil lawsuit amended in late 2024 shocked even those desensitized to hip-hop's darker undercurrents. In it, an anonymous woman referred to only as Jane Doe claimed that back in 2000, when she was just 13, she was assaulted by both Jay-Z and Diddy after being given something at a post-VMS gathering. Jay-Z responded with a full-throated denial, calling the claim a blackmail attempt, but one disturbing detail still hangs in the air. The plaintiff said a well-known female celebrity stood in the room and watched it happen. No name, no comment from her team, and no answers. In a blistering statement, Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away, would you?" That lawsuit may be new to the public, but behind the scenes, murmurs of similar behavior have echoed for years. Industry sources say there were unspoken rules at certain parties. Who could enter? Who couldn't bring phones? Who was expected to play along? And while Diddy's freak-offs have now been dissected in open court, the question is whether those around him were just spectators or something more. Prosecutors painted a pattern of coercion. High-end hotels controlled environments, and women told what to do and when to do it. Diddy has denied trafficking, but the conviction for transporting women across state lines for immoral purposes is no longer rumor. It's on the books. So, where does that leave Jay-Z? He wasn't charged in Diddy's 2025 trial, but he was in the room often enough to be noticed. Some of the women who testified said powerful men took turns arranging who was invited, who was excluded, and who was kept quiet. That inner circle, as one former Combs assistant called it, included names that still dominate headlines. And if Jay-Z knew the dynamics going on behind closed doors, the silence becomes harder to defend. One former Roc Nation employee put it bluntly: "You didn't need to see everything to know what was happening. But after that major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about Jay-Z and his nefarious." But Jay-Z's legal problems don't end with whispered parties and closed-door allegations. In 2025, Ramir Satwait returned to court with a vengeance, armed with new evidence, this time accusing Jay-Z